All right. It's time for the MMA After Hour, and that means it is time for everyone's favorite segment. And by the way, someone last week sent me a message saying, why do you call this your favorite segment or everyone's favorite segment? I hate Rick's Picks. Well, you know what? This segment is dedicated to you, my friends. Hit the music. Time now for Rick's Picks. Yeah. Here we go. Better have something good for us.
Rick's Picks. Rick's Picks. Rick's Picks are lots of fun, and his hair is in a
Yeah.
because it's, you already know what it is.
Rick's Picks. What are the chances he watched a single fight this weekend? I'm saying not that good.
Craze taking the world by storm. Live
Probably watching some kickboxing.
Beautiful New York City. It's
God
time
knows what.
for Rick's Picks.
There he is, the man himself, New York Rick. Very popular in Boston, by the way, New York Rick. Got a lot of questions about your whereabouts.
I'm popular everywhere.
A lot of people come up to me, hey, where's New York Rick? I'm like, yo, have you not been paying attention? He doesn't come to any event.
Yeah, I don't go to the UFC shows. Come on. Pay attention, people.
What are we wearing over there? What's that logo?
This logo?
Yeah.
Oh.
You always have something that you're hawking, that
It's
you're
just
repping.
the logo of a very reputable photo studio in Brooklyn, Williamsburg, Brooklyn, known as Den BK.
So this is not something that you're, oh, I guess it is something that you're hawking. It's always something.
Listen,
There's
I
always
mean,
an ulterior motive.
I didn't call it out.
Well,
you did.
Usually that's what we do. By the way, I met your friend from Reebok, Kevin.
The GOAT.
What a mensch.
Best.
What a mensch. Who knew he was Irish?
Me. I knew
Yeah.
because I talked to him.
Thank you. Great guy. Was sporting a Zuffa boxing sweatshirt. They're in good hands with Kevin. I really liked him a lot.
Listen, say what you will about Reebok.
And I'll say a lot.
and you in particular have said a lot. They are getting people who understand the sport, and Kevin being one of them, on board and being able to, to continue to influence what's going on over there. But shout out to Kevin at Reebok. He's great.
Yeah, in fact, there was a fan who came up to me at the weigh-ins with a binder filled with designs. And he's like, please, can you give this to someone at Reebok? And I was like, you know what? I just met someone from Reebok. And he was kind enough to come back. I texted him, came back, met with the young man. They sat down. They went through the whole binder. I was watching them. It was pretty damn impressive.
I mean, Ariel Helwani out here changing lives. Kevin out here changing
Wait,
lives.
what did I do?
Made the introduction, right? You called him back.
Oh, yeah. I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Come on, take some credit.
Well,
I mean, you've been known to pass credit away all the time.
sure. Well, I'm
so.
just not that kind of guy. I'm happy to drop dimes, assists here and there. I don't want the spotlight. I don't want the credit. I just want to make others' lives better. That's it.
Shout out to that guy. I think he actually tweeted us
He did?
earlier. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Did something
He
come of
said,
it?
Say thanks to Ariel
Wow.
for introducing me to Kevin.
Well, there you go.
At first, I was like, is he talking about Kevin from Reebok?
Yeah.
And turns out he was.
There we go.
Enough about
Okay.
I mean, Kevin, we just made his
All right.
weekend for this one.
Maybe not, because sometimes you don't want to get mentioned by this show. It might not be good for the street cred. Who knows?
No, he's a good dude, and he's doing good things over there at Reebok.
Okay.
Getting the right people involved in it.
Yes.
In the game. Okay. Shall we jump into Rick's picks?
We shall.
Okay. First one up. Put it on the screen, if you will. We have
Yes.
Joel Embiid. This tweeted from the 76ers Instagram account. Oh, sorry, I tweeted. This posted to the 76ers Instagram account. UFC heavyweight contender Francis Ngannou stopping by shoot around and copping a pic with Joel Embiid. Two Cameroonian sensations.
Do you think Joel
picture.
knew who Francis was?
It didn't seem it. Did you see embedded?
Yeah, he had no idea.
He didn't seem to know. But
Did Francis know who Joel was?
the process, come on. He's got to
feel
know
like he
what the
didn't know.
process is. Oh, he definitely knew.
What about Francis sinking the free throw? You see that?
The form was...
Questionable.
Okay, you know what? The form was better than Conor
Yes.
McGregor, but worse than... I don't know. Who's somebody
Everyone
who sank
else?
it. Rose had a... Wait, did Rose dribble or shoot? I forget. I know TJ hit a shot. Cody threw up a few air balls, so maybe better than Cody and
Problem
Connor.
was it was a slow motion video, so it really emphasized just how
yeah.
bad it was.
The form wasn't so bad. It just looked awkward.
Yeah.
But he had his elbows in the right spot.
Yeah.
He took it properly. But more impressively, just look at how massive NBA players.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible.
I mean, Francis is like a big, scary dude. Like everybody is talking about Francis all week and in the lead up as like this terrifying man. He dwarfs him. Joel Embiid is massive.
Well, it's like LeBron James. LeBron James weighs 265 pounds. LeBron James would be a UFC heavyweight. You know what I mean? And like he's flying around like he weighs,
like he's a
135.
flyweight.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is.
NBA players are just a special breed, but really cool. Like more than anything, just really cool to see these two guys linking up.
Speaking of Joel Embiid, by the way, I attended the Sixers-Celtics game on Thursday night at the TD Garden.
Regale us, please.
As far as basketball is concerned, like offensive basketball, one of the worst displays I've ever seen. Like the Celtics were just absolutely putrid for, I'd say, like the first 3.5 quarters of the game. Then they finally made like a fake run. But the Sixers are a fun team to watch. Joel Embiid, of course, Ben Simmons. I was very sad that your boy Kyrie was not playing. I found out
not my boy.
They were doing the starting lineups. Where's Kyrie? He's injured. But you know who's awesome, who I really enjoy and really pisses me off every time he plays the Knicks? TJ McConnell. This guy is unbelievable.
Great player.
Doesn't miss.
I like their squad.
Yeah.
JJ Redick. I love their squad.
But the best part of the night, by the way, was catching up with my old friend Sean Grandy. What a great guy.
Celtics play-by-play.
Radio play-by-play man. In fact, he had John Anik. In fact, I was just sitting like 3 rows above him, and I didn't even know that. John Anik came in to do the second quarter with him and Cornbread, Cedric Maxwell. It was just cool. He is such a great guy, Sean Grandy, and obviously they're in good hands with Mike Goldberg and Mauro Ranallo, but I do believe that they pulled the plug on the Grandy experience a little prematurely, and I'd like to see an MMA promotion pick him up. I don't think he's really interested at this point. Like 82 games on the road, it's hard to do both. But I thought he was really coming into his own for a guy who had no experience doing MMA. I thought he was doing a great job. So anyway, it was really nice to see him go to an NBA game. You made me think of that because of the picture.
Sure, good dude. Lots of NBA stuff going on that week in Boston. Here we have a video from the UFC. Daniel Cormier getting a message from Jon Jones ahead of his fight.
Hey, DC. Jon Jones here. Or at least one that's a little bit friendlier than the one you're used to. I'm at Jon Jones on Twitter, so I get all the other guys' hate mail. Anyway, I just wanted to say I've been binge watching your fights, and you kick ass, man. I'm a fan. Like, you're an incredible fighter, and you seem like a cool guy and a great dad. And I just wanted to say, good luck. You got this. Just, if I have one piece of advice to give, I've heard a lot about that Vulcan death grip, so watch out for that one. Good luck, champs. You got this.
So I have lots of thoughts about this, but
where do you even get this shit though? Like, where do you even get this?
A little bit friendlier
Hey.
than the one you're used to.
do you think DC is aware of that Jon Jones? Do you think he had known about him? He had to, right?
Yeah, he's pretty in touch with what's going on around him, so I'm sure he's seen the tweets. There's a Daniel Cormier too, right?
There's also a Daniel Cormier. Yeah.
So I feel like he's aware. It was good stuff. That's good social mediaing from the UFC.
It is
Not always the case.
Also, I just love.
But this was good stuff.
Hi, DC.
Yeah.
It's Jon Jones.
He's just so perfectly geeky. You know what I mean?
Happy-go-lucky.
Is he wearing a Jon Jones hat?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's his own or if it's one.
No, I think it's like a Jon Jones
hilarious.
fighter hat.
That is hilarious.
Well done to the UFC. I saw the tweet. This didn't even come to mind. I didn't even consider that that's what that was. I thought, oh man, did Jon Jones soften up? Is he?
Wait, like Johnny Bones?
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
Well, what did you think? You thought it was the guy?
Yeah,
the video
at Jon
game guy?
Jones.
No, because he doesn't. It didn't
It
say.
says it right there. At Jon Jones.
I saw it somewhere else where it didn't say.
Oh yeah, no. I read the tweet and I was like, oh man, because you don't see anything at first, right?
Yeah.
You
You just see DC's reaction.
Like, oh, this is good stuff. Well done.
Well done to UFC, DC, and Jon Jones.
Yes, the real Jon Jones.
Speaking of Jon Jones, great episode this week from Tommy Tohol.
Oh yes.
The topic: Jon Jones taking a polygraph test.
This is free advertising for DraftKings. Oh,
Listen.
Take this polygraph test.
Okay, here we go.
Yes, it's the only way to clear my good name with the people. You know that most people don't think these things mean shit, right? They must know the truth. They must know the danger of gas station dick drugs. Okay, Jon Jones. Whatever you say, bud. My
That's
name
good.
is Daniel Cormier. I'm a fucking lie detector guy person deal. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions to start this thing that are really simple to answer, okay, bud? Hit me, Daniel. Is your name Jon Jones? Yes. Okay, John, we got problems. This shit's already saying you're lying. It's because my legal name is Jon Jones. But in my
if you want to see the whole thing, check out Tommy Tohod's channel. But
People really didn't like that polygraph story, huh?
I think this is a segue to talk about, obviously, the polygraph story. What kind of stock do you put into it?
I mean, I don't know. I'm no expert. I know that I don't think a lot of stock is put into polygraph tests, right?
Sure.
With the people who matter, the courts.
Yep.
So all I know is it happened. I thought it was noteworthy. I thought it was newsworthy. I confirmed it. Not a lot of people want to talk about it. Jon Jones didn't acknowledge it, but I do think it was worth noting. But people
are very upset.
I don't know if they're upset, but they're just quick to call. Look, it's just another indication, in my opinion, as I've said time and again, and as I noted going into the fight on Saturday, like, and I know the reason for this. I do believe to a certain degree people have moved on. And they've moved on for two reasons. A, because it's not the first time he got in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Whether it was knowingly or unknowingly, it's not the first time.
Yeah.
And B, there's no resolution to what happened at 214. Like,
Correct.
we know he was provisionally suspended. We know that he's been stripped. We know that the fight was turned into a no contest. We have no idea if he's coming back in 3 years, 6 months, 2 years. So it's just kind of lingering. And I think at this point, people just don't want to get hung up over it. And I was pleasantly surprised, because there's nothing Daniel and Volkan can do about it. I was pleasantly surprised at how much it didn't hang over their heads heading into Saturday night. Like, it felt like people really accepted that this was the heavyweight title fight. Like, there was, even if you look at tweets about, like, Daniel made the Ted Bundy joke at the workout.
Yeah, that was great.
All the comments afterwards were like, "Oh, DC's the man." Like, like one or two like fake champ stuff.
Yeah, a lot of love heading DC's way. Unfortunately, though, I think unless another contender arises and it happens quickly, I do think Jon Jones will then be inserted back into the conversation. I think because there was an opponent, because this had a natural conclusion, because this fight was something it could build toward, I think that minimizes the opportunity for that cloud to hang over. Now, I do think Jon Jones will re-enter this conversation. Not to say that, Jon doesn't deserve to enter the conversation or any judgment about that part of it, but I do think there will be more conversation about Jones versus DC now that this fight has happened, and it doesn't seem like, there's a next contender right here, right now.
I don't sense it. Like after the fight, people are talking about Stipe versus DC.
Well, yeah, but you also have to consider the fact that they'll be talking about Daniel Cormier's legacy, and that is always going to be tied to Jon Jones, no matter what.
It will. I just don't feel like it's the same as it was 2 years ago.
I agree with you on that. I think people are ready to accept DC in a way that they weren't.
People appreciate him more.
Yeah, Jon Jones effed up bad enough.
Like, did you see that answer about his son?
Yeah.
Who gives you that kind of stuff? And there's just something about the delivery and the authenticity and the willingness to open up. Again, Chuck's piece was spot on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I'm 100% with you. I felt it as well. I sat here and said that I believe Jon Jones was still the best and Jon Jones was the rightful champion and all that stuff. It's hard to make that case anymore. DC has been there and put in the time. And now it's likely time to move on unless something changes. Okay. This one from our very own MMA Fighting. Shout out to Ariel Helwani and Mark Raymundi for this video.
Enjoyed it.
I liked it a lot.
Wow.
Because we're covering events on both coasts.
Yes.
I like to see this.
Wow.
I like to see you. Now let's wait here for the transition.
Yeah.
I want to talk about something.
Okay.
Francis Ngannou. If Stipe
So you're setting the
Miocic
stage
wins this
here.
fight, he would
UFC
become
220.
the winningest heavyweight champion in UFC history. But everyone's hot on Francis Ngannou. He's like a locomotive right
The
now.
guy walking by.
Will the favorite Ngannou
I thought you were going to note my gloves. My gloves were very popular.
No, they're great. I got nothing to say about that.
Okay.
In the co-main event, we've got Daniel Cormier
setting the scene, coast-to-coast coverage.
Yeah, setting the scene for Boston.
Yep.
Doing a great job as always.
Yep.
Here we see
great fight in the 205
DC and
division.
Volkan
So it's an interesting night, as I said, not
facing
only
the crowd.
because of UFC 220,
Yes,
but also
there I am, TD
because
Garden,
across
Bobby
the
Orr.
country, in
Okay,
Inglewood, up
so we're
to
making a transition
California,
here.
Here we go.
It's Bellator 192. For
How about
more
you?
on this card, let's go.
Throwing. Oh, the screen comes in and Mark
Wow,
Raymundi.
look at that face.
Is standing by. He's going to set
Look
the
at that
scene
pun
for
him.
you.
here's the question for you.
Yes, I know what your question is, but please
What
go
is
ahead.
it? No, I want to know if you do know my question.
Yes, were we talking to each other? Could he hear me?
You're shaking your head here. You're nodding
Yep,
up and down.
yep.
What are you nodding to?
I'm
What are
nodding
we
to
hearing?
the acknowledgement that he's standing outside Randy's Donuts, that it's a nice day, what he just said. I'm acknowledging it.
Wow.
That's a toss.
Technology.
That's TV 101.
Mark killing over here.
Mark killing it. He's wearing
Outside
a
the donut
blazer.
Now, I mean, we could have had a donut in the video. Like, I would have liked that.
Look at those undies, Rampage.
Yeah, this is where we have to cut this off.
So what are you trying to say?
No, I enjoyed this very much. That's what I'm
I mean,
trying
you
to
can't
say.
pull it off all the time because there's not often, two events
Yeah.
coast to coast. But I thought that, being cold climate, warm climate, both, coast, Boston, LA, there's
I thought it was perfect.
we're setting the scene. They're both happening at the same time. We have a reporter there, a reporter here. Credit to Casey for, editing it. Credit to Cynthia in Inglewood for shooting that.
That's right, Cynthia joined.
Shot mine. Look,
Well done.
I'm a TV vet. I know how to do these things. Now, do you want to know the secret behind it, or should we just
Talk to me. Yeah, no.
Well,
Come on,
how do you think we pulled it
let's
off?
break the fourth wall.
How do you think we pulled it off?
I mean, come on.
What? What?
Are you about to explain this like it's some kind of intricate
No. Really, I want to know.
movement?
I was wearing an IFB. He was wearing an IFB.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah. What do you think?
No, that was what I thought too.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought you guys were wearing IFB.
But you didn't see it? It's like one of those.
Oh, I see it. I see it now. We're rolling this back. I see it now.
I was actually impressed that we had that kind of technology.
Yeah, listen, no expense spared. When the two biggest, things of the weekend are happening, you gotta pull out the
Thank you
stops.
to Vox for hooking us
Thank
up.
you to MMA Fighting and Vox for,
No, it was
for
great.
making it happen.
It was really cool.
Shout out to Mark.
Mark, great job.
Okay. Moving on to some lighter stuff. Demetrious at the event.
Whoa.
I mean, this guy.
Who is this guy?
Or girl. I don't think we saw their face.
Oh,
And then at the end they turn. You know what that is, right?
that's the Predator, right?
That's the Predator.
You think he was dressed that way because of Francis Ngannou?
Oh, 100%. Got to support.
Man. Do you think
This could be the new Chuck Liddell.
Do you think he was dressed that
phone
way
guy.
for the entire night? He must have been boiling.
I can confirm that because in every not weigh-in, in every prep point, when the
He was
commission
there?
is patting them down, you see the Predator head in the back. From time to time, you see Chuck Zito. You see a lot of characters,
the
but
man.
the Predator was
He was there the whole night.
featured prominently. I said on Twitter that they deserve a post-fight bonus for this,
Jay.
for being there all night in that costume.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, shout out to the Predator and shout out to Demetrious for geeking out about it. Speaking of that fight,
Yes.
congrats to Stipe Miocic.
Yes. Oh, going to be a dad.
Going to be a father. Having a baby? Hell yeah.
Oh, you gotta love it.
Turns out, I believe it was a little girl.
He even told us the 3 names.
Yeah, that's right. He did reveal the 3 names.
That's all that's me right now. Congratulations.
Super amped. And you know what? I feel it. I've been there. I was just recently there. I'm feeling it.
Post-fight Stipe is the best Stipe.
Post-fight interview, post-fight presser, Stipe, he killed it. After the fight, after he went through that war with Francis, Stipe told it like it is and did a great job.
Now, what did you make of the whole belt situation?
I mean, you explained it pretty perfectly. There's obviously, if you've been paying attention, some kind of strife, and he, is looking for respect.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's hard to make a case that he doesn't. The event in Cleveland, the event that on the back of him was promoted and sold out. It's hard to make a case that he shouldn't be getting paid at least as much as his opponent in that circumstance, and then his opponent in the championship fights. I mean, it's pretty. I think it's clear that Stipe has earned his place at this point. This was supposed to be, this fight with Francis was supposed to be his toughest test, and guess what? Passed it with flying colors. There's nothing left to prove for Stipe Miocic in terms of, well, he hasn't quite done this yet. He's done everything. And
Greatest
I
UFC
think-
heavyweight of all time.
Yes, I agree with that.
He actually just tweeted, records are made to be broken 9 minutes ago.
It's crazy how long that record has stood and how many great heavyweights have passed through, and he was able to do it. At this point, I think he's undeniable in terms of the respect he deserves and his place in history. I do think this fight was very important to that, though. I don't think if this fight hadn't gone his way or if it hadn't been as dominant, it would have been the same, but he passed the test here.
I just remember being in Detroit, 218, and Ngannou knocks out over him, and people are like, Stipe's so scared. So just assuming.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, yep, let's go.
I don't want to go super ranty on this, but I did make a tweet that a lot of people interacted with.
What'd you tweet?
That this idea that Francis is this terrifying figure. He's so scary. He's so terrifying. I get it. I get that he has punching power, but all the heavyweights have punching power. And Stipe knocked out the same guys. If Francis is terrifying, what does that make Stipe, who has knocked out the same guys, has a higher KO percentage in his wins? He has a higher knockout rate than Francis, and also has the other tools to be able to dominate a fight. If Francis is terrifying, then Stipe's the boogeyman. He's or Tony Ferguson is the boogeyman, but he's some kind of iteration of the boogeyman. I don't understand how Stipe to this point has not gotten that kind of respect.
Well,
or not
I
gotten
understand
that kind of
it
acclaim.
because he just kind of looks like everyday Joe Schmo. He's
And he's going to go in there and knock you out.
Yeah.
More times than Francis will, percentage-wise.
No, I get that, but I understand why people don't react to him the same way they do, say, Francis, because of the Overeem knockout and just the way he looks. Francis is taller, he's bigger. It's part of Stipe's appeal, in my opinion, now is that he does look like the everyman, but yet he'll.
If that's what,
he'll beat you.
I wish.
But you know what I'm saying? And I took exception. I saw some people saying that it was a horrendous fight, it was a horrible fight. Look, the first round was phenomenal to me.
I agree.
You probably thought if you were ordering this pay-per-view that it wasn't going to last more than 5 minutes. That's what everyone was kind of banking
100%.
on. So if that's the case, then the other 20 minutes.
You got your 5 minutes.
You got your 5 minutes and then some. You didn't get the finish, but you got your 5 minutes. The rest of the way, third, fourth, fifth, I thought, okay, maybe put him away. But you saw there were a couple times where Francis was landing one punch in a round and it was a big punch. You still have to respect his power. You still have to respect who he is and what he can do to you with one punch. So I thought Stipe did what he had to do to win the fight.
Yeah, it was a great game plan. And the people who are burying Francis on the other end of this, need to reevaluate this. For how long he's been doing this to get to this point and be dangerous against now a historic UFC heavyweight champion, there's plenty of time for him to change his game, even though he's 31 years old and he's not exactly, the 20-year-old that's coming into the UFC. He has not been doing this for long enough to say that Francis Ngannou is a finished product. And the comparisons to some single upset guy, comparing him to Sokoju or comparing him to, I saw Czech Congo. I think Luke Thomas was interacting with some people calling him Czech Congo. Czech Congo is not even in the same ballpark in terms of fighting style or anything that has been shown to this point. It's ridiculous. He's got plenty of time and plenty of opportunity to fix the deficiencies that he had in this fight that allowed an all-time great heavyweight to beat him. It's not and also he lasted 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Overeem, Hunt, Verdum, are these guys no longer good just because they got knocked out by Stipe? It's ridiculous to me.
He said all the right things afterwards as well. He faced the music. He said, I'm going to learn lessons. I've learned lessons. I want to see if he does, in fact, apply those lessons to his next training camp. And I don't know, maybe it's finding a training camp. Like the whole PI thing sounds great, and it's an awesome advertisement for the PI. But I do feel like you need a team, right? You do need a head coach. He does have his head coach, but his head coach lives in France. So I don't know, but clearly cardio is something that he has to work on.
Oh, that's funny you should say that.
Oh.
Our next Rex pick.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes.
Derrick Lewis.
I didn't see this. What is this?
Seems like someone else been bullshitting. Yes, my brother. That is a treadmill behind me.
Wow.
Taking shots.
Wow. Was this after the fight?
It was. It was right after the fight. Derrick Lewis.
Give me, hey.
In no uncertain terms.
Win or lose in Austin. He mentions Austin there.
Yeah.
Give me Derrick Lewis versus Francis Ngannou next.
Let's do that.
Win or lose. Right? Win or lose. It works both ways. Don't give me the whole, even if he won the fight, don't even start. Give me that fight.
Love that fight. Wanted that fight for a long time.
Now's the time.
Let's see it. Now it's time.
Yeah. Derrick wins. You got a new contender.
We have another post-fight reaction, this time from Douglas Lima on Facebook.
What a photo.
Pissed at myself, but thankful to God for another battle. Rory MacDonald, you're a warrior. Thank you. Can't wait for the rematch. Thank you all for supporting. Thank you to my team for an awesome camp. I will be back. And then he posts the same message, I believe. I'm guessing it's the same message.
Can you read that part?
In Portuguese?
Yeah. Não foi o resultado que queria. Yeah. Mas
Go ahead, keep going.
Obrigado a Deus por mais dia de trabalho e mais aprendizado. Logo estamos de volta. Obrigado minha equipe e família por tudo. Simbora pro próximo. Phil 413.
Yeah, Bible.
What is
Bible
Phil
script.
413? Is that the one that Jon
Yeah,
Jones?
I think that's the one that Jon Jones has on his
Philippians.
on his chest. Yeah. But Douglas Lima handling it like a champion. I think both of those guys' stock definitely goes up after that performance. Rory gutting through what looked like a really, really horrific leg injury. Lima showing that against a guy as accomplished as Rory in the UFC, that he belongs in this upper echelon.
Yeah.
So a really, really good fight, and both of them, I think come out winners on this one. Rory also posted, and we had it in the TriCaster, his post-fight photo in the hospital as well. But congrats to Douglas.
Wait, why
Rory
doesn't
on
he
a
get
great
the
fight.
shine?
Well, because we had it ready for when he was on.
Oh.
But he's gonna get some more shine.
I thought you were going to go with the GSP tweet.
No.
No?
We're gonna go with this.
All right. There it is. Oh, my dear. I mean, just look at that thing.
And so I have to correct the record. I had something incorrect.
Oh,
Our friend, and whose Instagram this is from, Gian Galang,
it's just so amazing.
he did the box art. If you look in the back there, he did the box artwork for this. Plastic Cell did the figure itself.
What is Plastic Cell?
They do figures like
Oh,
this.
my God.
Acrylic.
Just look at that thing. It's
figures.
beautiful.
And so next week,
Oh, my God.
we're going to get a delivery, a special delivery.
Unbox?
We could do an unbox.
Wow.
Shout out to Unbox Therapy. We could do an unbox. But that figure will be ours next week. It's pretty incredible.
God.
Great. Look at the box artwork is perfect.
Everything.
The figure itself is perfect. Everything about this is fantastic. If you're an MMA fan, I mean, you got to get this, right?
I mean, if they sell them, yeah.
Oh, they sell them. I don't know if they're on sale yet.
Yes.
Rory was saying not yet, but I think they are going to
But
sell
there's a
them.
massive void in the MMA collectible department ever since the departure of our good friends over at Round 5.
Yeah.
Those were great. Like, think about all the guys that they've missed since they left.
I think what makes this also so iconic is that we saw Rory's face in that moment so many times,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
remember it so well that this figure, just brings that fight and that moment instantly back to mind for people.
Oh, man. Can't wait.
Great job by Plastic Cell and GN. Okay. Max Holloway here. I don't have the second image from this, but you can go. Listen,
That is a botch.
there's limitations to tag board.
That is
There's limitations.
a botch.
There's
Then
limitations to tag
you
board.
don't go with it. I mean, what is this? This is total crap.
No. You can listen. You know what? It's a choose your own adventure.
Oh
Go
my
flip to
God.
Max Holloway's Twitter, and you can
This
find the
is
answer.
A botch unlike it. This is a worse.
Ugh. Here we go. Go ahead. While I go to sleep, you tell me.
This is worse than what transpired at that press conference on Friday. This botch right here.
I mean, come on. Come on.
You know what's funny? Remember when I was on the show after the whole featherweight title thing, when they stripped Conor of the featherweight title and they
Yeah.
made Aldo, and I said that was an epic botch?
Yeah,
Somehow
they've topped
they've.
it.
Oh God.
Holloway not botching it, doing some good social media. Jeopardy. There's
Edgar had his own.
There's a funny. Yeah, and Edgar responded to it.
No response. What about both sides of the story?
Listen,
Learn a lesson from Brent Primus.
me.
Well, I've learned a lesson, and now I'm trying to bring it to this segment.
Speaking of Max Holloway,
All right.
Max Holloway obviously noticing in The Rock's new commercial, the trailer for that movie Rampage. Did you play that video game?
No. There's a movie or video game?
Yeah, they're coming out with a no, there was a video game
Oh.
back in the 90s, I want to say, maybe even late 80s, where you would tear up cities. You were like a gorilla,
Oh.
a dinosaur, or something else.
And The Rock is the guy?
The Rock is now in an action movie where those characters are being reprised, and it was called Rampage. And there's a scene where he's choking somebody out, a rear naked choke. And Max Holloway was paying tribute to his form. And then The Rock responded to say, thank you to the champ. And that he learned this move slapping guillotine chokes on when he was a kid, and showing love to the current featherweight champion.
Does The Rock write his own tweets?
Oh, for sure.
I've noticed that his tweets are very long. He loves the retweet, the quote retweet.
They're very long, but you can tell that they have this knowledge that he has.
Yeah, all right.
They seem.
Yeah, but he could be reciting it to someone else.
Maybe, but so does that mean that it's not his tweet?
I want to know if it's coming from his
If the person
fingers.
is literally pressing the button, does that make it not your tweet?
I'm always fascinated by this because, I even asked Stipe about it, if he's the one writing his own tweets, because, there's a whole psychology behind it. There's a whole sort of game plan and all that. How are we going to put social media, blah, 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 blah. And there's something special about knowing that this came from the person's fingers, you know what I mean? As opposed to coming from someone else. There's just something special.
I get it. Are we going to talk about Danny tweeting from your account, that Danny writes all your tweets?
Who's Danny?
Danny Segura in the back
Well,
here?
of course. Thank you. Thank you for outing me.
Pull back the curtain a little bit.
Listen, I'm tweeting the guests. I'm doing like 8 things on this show. Kidding me? Multitasker extraordinaire.
Okay, we're going back to Demetrious.
Yes.
Here we go. Let this roll back. We caught this in the middle, but we'll.
Why do you have to do it so violently?
What we're gonna see here is Demetrious getting caught off guard and killed here in Battlegrounds.
Oh shit!
Oh.
Actually getting shocked by how he got deaded.
Oh, this is after.
And he hurt his shoulder.
Oh my God! After his surgery.
Why do you have to do it so violently?
Also, if you notice, I think they teabag him.
What?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
No.
That's
I'm
horrible.
pretty sure.
Let's see it one more time.
Oh shit!
Here we go. Wait. They're going to come into frame here. Oh, yeah. They're definitely teabagging.
What are you talking about? That's horrible. Is that true? Is that a thing that people do?
Oh, Ariel.
What are you talking?
Oh, Ariel.
What if he's like stealing his stuff?
I got to teach you about video games.
Oh my God. I want nothing to do with video games. That's what you guys do? You sickos? What's wrong with you?
It's been a minute since I was on the sticks, but
teabagging. It's disgusting.
That's what he's. Look, I mean, it's the reality of online gaming. I wonder. Here's what I wonder though: did they know it was Demetrious? Did they know? And then they're knowing that there might be a chance that they get on his Twitch and all that.
Yeah.
But shout out to Demetrious.
Shout out.
Matt Brown, seemingly short-lived retirement. When I said I was retiring, I never said how long. Looks like
I know, really, Matt Brown. I mean, we were on the show. You're telling such great stories. You go out with the elbow from hell, the axe.
Now, did you think it was real? Like,
honestly, I did. I mean, this is the shortest retirement ever. And yes, we're getting a good fight, it seems, right? We're getting Carlos Condit. But Jesus. Now, let me ask you this. Do you believe Daniel Cormier when he says he's going to retire?
He's one that I have no reason to not believe, because if you're Daniel Cormier, you did it all at heavyweight. You did it all at light heavyweight. The only one thing I would be holding out for if I was Daniel Cormier is to beat Jon Jones, is a third fight with Jon Jones. That is literally all that's left for Daniel Cormier. He's done it all in wrestling. He has nothing more athletically to accomplish, in my opinion. He's proven it at every level.
Yeah, but he's a competitor. And if he's still the champion come 40, will he be able to say goodbye? He's got other options out there to make money, right? Fox, this, that, and the other. But can he actually stop competing?
I believe he can.
I don't know.
I've had a good sense of these things in the past.
Okay.
I don't think he's in the same spot as many others. I think he has enough outside the cage and enough interaction with it to allow him to live that I don't believe he will need to continue fighting. But the one thing I do think could get him to stick around longer, let's say Jon Jones' suspension is up and he's bordering on 40 or already turns 40, and that fight could be made. I have to think that will get the competitor in him to jump. But that, I think, is the only thing. I don't think he'd necessarily hang around for another fight on pay-per-view. I don't know if he needs it or has to do it at this point. But
what do you think about him versus Stipe?
Like it as a fight, but don't really think that that's the thing that needs to be done. Like, I'm okay if they do it. I'm okay with it. I think it's a good fight for both guys, and I think they could capitalize. But the champion versus champion super fight stuff seems to be a last resort at this point. Like everybody's being talked about as a champion.
I would disagree. It seems to be a first resort.
That what I meant was we've got nothing else. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I feel about it. And I don't know if it needs to go there. Like Nunes versus Cyborg.
That one actually makes sense because there's really nothing going on.
And also Nunes has fought at featherweight before. Cormier has fought at heavyweight before. So it's not that I find it absurd, and I don't think that it's a matchup that wouldn't be competitive. But even Daniel himself seems to be kind of pressing the brakes on that a little bit. That's not really his weight class. And how big some of these heavyweights are. Stipe being on the smaller end of heavyweights though. I don't know. It's not my first choice, but I definitely think that it would be a great fight between those two. No doubt about it. So well rounded, it would be good anywhere.
I'm not like emotionally invested in it right now.
I'm not dying to see it.
I'm not feeling it.
I'm in the same place.
They're too nice, both of them.
Well, I mean that's in the cage they're not.
Ooh.
I think those two are nasty. Those two will break you down.
Bad intentions.
Yeah. Not everything has to be about a one-shot kill. Those guys will put you in the grinder and mince you up. Okay, last thing we have here.
Okay.
An artist, a lot of people were sending this to me actually. An artist named Barry Keegan did a great little comic related to MMA. It's actually Chuck Liddell kind of traversing the shadow realm. If you're interested in comics, if you're interested in this type of artwork, give it a look. Barry Keegan did an interesting little comic here.
Okay, well, you want to read it or sell it, or what are you doing here?
I'm not going to read it. Go read it if you're interested in comic
Wait, is it
books.
just those 4 little boxes?
No, there's a full comic. What, you want me to read a full comic?
Well, I just saw a little thing. I thought it was just like one little strip.
No. There's a full comic book. MMA related, Chuck Liddell, Traversing the Shadow Realm.
Wow.
Go look for it.
Okay.
Well done to Barry. And that is it for Rick's Picks.
Okay, well done.
Now we will transition to some photos. Some questions. Look, it's been a long show.
It has. You've talked for so long.
Yeah, I have to carry the water here.
Yes.
Okay. We start as we always start.
3 questions of the week.
3 questions of the week. Is this going to turn into what we do with the lineup? Are we going to 10?
Yes, maybe the whole show will just be questions of the week. You never know.
That could be a show.
By the way, these were all that actually could be a show. These were all very relevant. Actually, I had more.
For all intents and purposes, is the beat not kind of that? It is the topics of the week, the questions of the week. It kind of is that.
I'm a very interactive guy, and I like for my audience to feel like they're a part of the show. So I like to ask them questions. And also I feel like it's important to sort of get the pulse of the nation. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. We got a lot of voters this week.
And I feel like you get a sense of how the people are feeling, right?
You do.
Okay.
In this one, first question.
Okay.
Is Stipe Miocic the greatest UFC heavyweight ever? With over 20,000 votes.
Oh.
That's a big number for this. 78% saying yes. I don't think... Is there an argument? Is this even arguable?
I mean, yeah,
It's hard to compare eras, but when you look at the resumes, I don't think there's really anybody who's even in close second.
I mean, yeah, you can make an argument. Let's not get crazy here, but I do believe that he has now cemented his place.
I'd say this is a further gap than most of the other divisions where you're looking for, an undisputed number one. I don't think Kane has had the longevity. I don't think
Kane's in that discussion.
It's hard to put him there for how long he's been inactive.
Who brought up Fabricio Verdum this week?
Chael.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Chael brought him up, and I think he had a great case until Stipe knocked him out.
Chael really
That
wanted
makes
to
it
stick
very
around
easy.
longer. See, I felt bad about that. I hate when that happens.
Well, we've got Tony Ferguson. The champ is waiting on the
He's
line.
getting impatient, but man, wish we could do a whole hour with him just talking stuff. Sometimes it's a little too business-like. Anyway, Randy Couture. Let's not forget about him.
Yeah, I think that these guys are all in a conversation, but I don't think it's very close. I think Stipe has done it.
Brock?
No, come on.
Just saying. But no,
Kane obviously above Brock. That's not even.
Yes, because he beat him. But I think Stipe is number one.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think 78% says it all.
Now here's the question. Greatest heavyweight of all time, period? Too soon.
I would say yeah too. I mean,
Whoa, now you're going to piss people off.
who am I going to get? Fedor?
Yeah.
Big Nog?
Yeah.
All those people coming out? Crow Cop?
Yeah.
I'm riding with Stipe. That's my
It is
thought.
such an amazing streak. Like what he did to Mark Hunt. Remember that fight in Adelaide?
Another finish.
Yeah.
Finishing Mark Hunt. And before it was kind of everybody's flavor of the week.
Whoa.
He's been finished a lot. There was a time where he was unfinished, but now he's been finished.
Arlovsky, 54 seconds. Verdum in the first round. Overeem in the first round. JDS.
Well, this is kind of what I was getting at earlier. Everybody was proclaiming Francis. This was supposed to be a coronation.
Yeah.
He has done all these things already.
Yeah, I know.
He deserves all the respect in the world, as he said in the post fight presser, not the interview.
Yeah.
He's had a tough path. It's not like these have been gimme fights. He has beaten everybody that is notable in that division, and done it impressively. It's hard to.
Stipe is one of the few
doubt
guys who actually benefits from embedded. I actually feel like he comes across.
He's more natural, for sure.
Very, like something about when he's at the media days, the pre-fight press conferences, it's no good. But when he's in his, home, around his wife, his friends, he's going to buy stuff at Home Depot, whatever the case may be. It's just very entertaining watching him. I don't know why. He's arguing with his wife. He's hanging up on her. And then post-fight Stipe, when he's got that chip on his shoulder, is fun as well. But it was interesting, like Dan Wetzel of Yahoo Sports, who's one of the best sports columnists in the world, in my opinion, at least in North America, the people that I read, his post-fight article was about the whole belt thing and the respect thing. There's a lot of attention on it. I still believe people think that it's about the promotion, and maybe that's a small part of it, but it's something that's been brewing for quite some time. And now, do they figure it out? That remains to be seen. It would be a shame if they don't, because you finally have a heavyweight champion who's winning, who's consistent, who's finishing, who's not turning down fights, who's willing to fight anyone, including the big bad, scary Francis Ngannou. Like, this is a guy you should get behind.
Speaking of getting behind, there's a lot of horses in this race.
Yes.
Question number 2. Who do you consider to be the best lightweight fighter in the world?
This is an interesting one.
The choices, 24,000 votes. The choices. Wow.
24,000. That might be the most we've ever had.
It is a lot. People are engaged today. Big fight weekend. Big show. The choices, Conor McGregor, Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and other.
Yeah, who won?
Interestingly, the other did not get a lot of votes, which is typically people like to, jokey joke.
Yeah.
46% Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Wow.
39% Conor McGregor, 14% Tony Ferguson.
The only guy of the three who doesn't actually have a belt right now.
And you know what?
Yes.
They're correct.
Wow.
Khabib Nurmagomedov is the best lightweight fighter in the world. I've been saying this for a long time. And I think there's a lot of people who feel this way. Obviously, 46%, almost 50% of 24 or 25,000 people feel the same way. There's one problem, though.
Yes.
He has to make it to the cage, and he has to prove it.
There's a bit of a misconception about Khabib, because he is right. Like, he did miss weight that one time, and he's had injuries, but like all the second time they were supposed to fight, it wasn't his fault. We can't blame solely Khabib for this fight not coming to fruition. Remember the one in Tampa?
It's not about who's to blame for the pulling out. There is a history of injuries there that have kept him out as well, and that is not his fault per se. But if you're not in the cage, then you're not proving it. The same way you could say that about Conor McGregor, and it doesn't have to do with injuries. If he's not there getting it done the way Tony Ferguson, for example, has been, then you can say that he's not proving it in the cage. It doesn't have to do with whether this fight not materializing was his fault in this case or his fault in this case. Truth be told, he has not been proving it. And then he comes back, he takes one fight, gets this opportunity again, and it doesn't come to fruition. This time, I'm hoping that it will, and I believe that it will. And I believe that he will prove that he is the best lightweight fighter on the planet when it does happen.
More importantly, what did you make of that whole press conference and the way it was handled? What did you make of it, and how should it have been handled?
No idea what to make of it, because the answers that were given did not make sense. They cannot be fighting for an undisputed title if there is another title out. That's not a
Well put.
that is logically not possible.
Yes.
It cannot be undisputed if there is another title.
Yes.
And Conor McGregor has that. So until the day comes where Conor McGregor no longer has that title, they cannot be fighting for an undisputed belt. Just not possible.
Is this disrespectful towards Khabib and Tony, the fact that this wasn't cleared up before the press conference, the fact that they have to answer these questions, sit there and listen to these questions being asked?
No, for the simple reason that they have a negotiation that happens behind the scenes. Whatever is in their contract, whatever they've been told, is what they have to rectify, is what they have to justify.
Yeah.
So
their contract states
then
they're fighting for the undisputed title, then why aren't you stripping that guy? If you're telling us one thing, why aren't you... Now, it's important to note that if they fight for the belt, they make more money. So at the end of the day, their bank account doesn't care. Why do you think the UFC, or in this case, Dana White, was reluctant to just come out and strip him, or at least provide some sort of clarity? He has a deadline, something.
I think this is a UFC thing more than a Dana thing because
Think so.
Because they've also, it's not like Dana had, things out there and was being stubborn and not saying what had already been said. The UFC has not said that Conor McGregor has been stripped.
No, I know, but I mean,
organizationally,
yeah.
So he wasn't just being difficult for the sake of being difficult. This is a company decision at this point.
But why do you think they're not doing it? Do you agree that if this was any other fighter, they would have done it?
Probably.
Yes. Do you agree that this was just another indication as to who really is the most powerful person in the sport?
The only thing making me reluctant to say that, and the reason I said probably rather than yes or definitely, is because they have stripped him before. They removed the featherweight belt from him, and
he's a lot more powerful today than he is back then.
No doubt about it. But they have done it before. The
whole thing doesn't make sense. He doesn't need the title. He doesn't need the title. He is so popular. Like, I'm not coming out here and saying like, Conor, we know Conor is the most powerful man in this sport. He's the biggest draw in the sport. He is the biggest star the sport has ever had, period. He doesn't need the title. So to me, you learned a lesson from 221. You learned that if you make your interim champion the champion and he gets injured, now you're stuck with an interim belt. So you learned that lesson. Like, for example, if they would have stripped Conor, right? If they would have stripped Conor and made Tony Ferguson the official champ, and then Tony Ferguson gets hurt, now Khabib is screwed, right? Because now he has to fight for an interim belt. He doesn't want an interim belt. So what do? If you're going to move ahead with an undisputed title fight that doesn't involve Conor McGregor, you have to strip him, and then you have to make it for the vacant title so that if Tony and Khabib, because I heard from a lot of people, they don't want to strip Conor because Tony and Khabib have had a history of, not showing up. Well, just make it for the vacant belt, because then if Tony or Khabib gets injured, Eddie Alvarez steps in, Dustin Poirier steps in, anyone steps in, right? It doesn't matter anymore.
There's a step that people are missing, which is that by Conor McGregor not being the lightweight champion, Tony Ferguson doesn't automatically become the lightweight champion.
It's just so confusing. He doesn't even know what to call himself.
That is something they can choose to do. They can make his title.
That's what they did with Whitaker.
An official title like they did with Whitaker, but they could also fight for a vacant belt, as you've outlined. They could say, this interim title is going to go away. Whoever wins this fight will be the undisputed champion. And I think ultimately that's what we'll get. Like, I think that's what we're holding out for, is at some point there will be some movement with Conor McGregor's belt, and the title will.
So I hear from a lot of people, it's so simple. If he doesn't accept, what are you talking about? You've just wrote me like 10 lines explaining whether or not the title fight on Saturday, April 7th is an actual title fight or not. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
And it, what sucks most about it? The fact that we even have to harp on it, because that's a phenomenal fight that we've all been dreaming about. And then you'll tell me, stop caring about these things. What do you mean? The whole point of this thing is to find out who's the best. In every sport, that's what we love about sports.
Here's a question.
Why did we care about UFC 1? Because we wanted to see who would win that tournament. And then it evolved into title fights. Why do we care about the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl and the NBA finals? Because we want to see who's the best. Why do I not care about college football? Because it's always been like, a bunch of bowl games and there's no real championship. Like, what are we doing now? What are we fighting for?
Does the belt even mean that anymore?
It does mean something.
It doesn't mean that.
They're doing a great job of not making it mean that or something, but I do still feel I'm a traditionalist. I feel like belts should mean something. And I feel like the best guy in the organization in that weight class should have the belt and should be fighting for that belt and should be defending that belt. But guess what you're trying to do now? You know what they're trying to do? They're gonna hedge, they're gonna buy time, and then guess what's gonna happen? There's gonna be two champions. And then you're gonna have a poster with two belts, and it's gonna be champion versus champion
You can still do champion versus champion without.
No, you can't. Not if you strip them.
Not well.
What's better than
you can do it if it was for the interim belt. If
yeah, but
Tony and
Khabib's not fighting for an interim belt.
I get it.
So,
but there was a way to do that without,
Well, then he's not fighting. You had to make the fight. And by the way,
I don't have a solution.
By the way, have you noticed that they're starting to pay attention? And it's from this program: Whitaker in Perth, Holloway, 9th Island, Khabib in Brooklyn. They're starting to listen, right? It's not Khabib and Ferguson fighting in Texas or Boston or San Francisco. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's
Rose and Joanna coming back to the
place.
To the place.
Huge Polish community in Brooklyn. Starting to listen. Oh, and now they want to do Cyborg versus Nunes. And guess where?
Tell me.
You can't hedge. That's the problem. They learned the lesson. They didn't properly execute the lesson that they learned.
I think this is just another example of the belt doesn't really mean that anymore.
No, it does mean something. They know it means something. We all care. And don't tell me not to care. The belts mean something. I want to know who's the best, and the best should have a belt. But you can't have two guys claiming that they're the undisputed champion. That's an oxymoron. Two undisputed? That doesn't happen. There will only be one undisputed, all right? So let's not let this linger and be this weird cloud, because I'm going to harp on it and other people will as well.
Question of the week number 3. Who is the best welterweight fighter in the world? 27,000 votes.
What?
44% Rory MacDonald.
Okay. Wait, say it again.
44% Rory MacDonald, 40% Tyron Woodley, 16% other. Rory MacDonald being voted on by 27,000 people. 47% of those 27,000 think that Rory is the best welterweight.
Yeah, but the people at Bellator say that Julia Budd is the best featherweight because she beat him. And no, this is the first time that Bellator can claim this. This is a big deal for them.
Do you agree?
Do I agree that? Okay, I'll tell you this much. It's so hard because they're not fighting the same people anymore. But yeah, I have no problem with that. I have no problem.
I would disagree, but I could hear a case for it. I wouldn't
because there's a weird thing that happens, right? Because he lost to Wonder Boy and Woodley beat Wonder Boy twice, so it's MMA math never works. But I'm happy I don't do rankings. I'm also not going to hate someone who makes that. It's the first time you can legitimately say it and not have someone, throw a shoe at your head.
I agree.
It's a pretty big deal, actually. I think it's a massive deal for Bellator. I think he's the face of the promotion. I think they need to put him in Canada next. They need to go to Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, one of those.
Is Chael maybe not the best? He was the headliner.
Wait, the best what? The best free agent signing or the best fighter?
Oh, light heavyweight,
What are you talking about? Light heavyweight.
He was headlining
heavyweight.
Yeah, my mistake. My mistake.
Yeah, even worse.
Oh man.
Yeah. No. I mean, look, Chael's worked out.
I also thought that was a good fight.
Yeah, it was a fun fight.
Yeah, I wasn't upset.
It was just going on at the exact same time as the UFC main event.
Wait, was it?
It was.
I saw it after, so forgive me.
It was. I was trying to watch both, but then I just became transfixed.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting debate. Please give us Ben Askren versus Rory MacDonald. That's the fight.
Is Ben coming for that though?
No, he's not. But what a fight that would be, right?
I would like it.
Oh man, I don't really know who would Rory fight.
Here's a question: is Ben Askren the best welterweight fighter on the planet?
Yeah, he was upset. By the way, he tweeted me saying, "Where's the love?" I had the perfect response though. I was talking about active fighters.
He's retired.
Sorry, can't get the love if you're retired. I'm gonna throw in GSP's name in there.
I think it's Tyron Woodley, but I wouldn't argue with you if you thought it was Rory MacDonald. I think there's a reason.
I don't argue with that as well, but I think it's a fun debate.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Anybody feeling either of those two, Or, you know what? Even if they said Ben Askren, I'm not...
Strength of schedule. It's tough.
I get it.
Colby Covington disagreed as well, by the way, just for the record.
I mean, okay. Question. We're going past the questions of the week now to the fan questions.
Okay.
In a world without Jon Jones, where does DC rank in the greatest of all time conversation? 20-0, excluding the 1-1 with Jon Jones over 2 weight divisions.
Oh, man. You want me to get all crazy? Look, take away how I feel about him as a human being. I'm the one who's been saying for the past 2-3 years that he's the number 2 pound for pound guy.
Yeah.
Number 2 pound for pound. Now you can make a case that he's number 1 with Jones out.
Yep.
I mean, I cannot.
Will history be kind to Daniel Cormier?
Yes, very kind. I mean, it's trending in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
It's just so amazing to see, how people viewed him 2 years ago and how they view him now.
What's interesting about Daniel Cormier is objectively, if you objectively look at his legacy, it's in the top 5 best of all time.
Yeah.
And it entirely hinges on Jon Jones.
I really don't feel that way anymore.
I think that where he falls is completely up to where you fall on the conversation about Jon Jones.
Okay, that's fair. But you know what? At this point,
if you forgive what Jon Jones has done outside of the cage, and now in this case, we're dealing with a situation where what he has done in the cage is affected by this. But if you feel and are able to put aside whatever Jon Jones has done outside the cage, you may feel that impacts Daniel Cormier's legacy and say that, no, Jon Jones is still the best. If you don't, if you disregard Jon Jones now because of what he has done or has been accused of doing, then Cormier becomes a much more attractive option for the best ever, for the conversation about the best ever. It all hinges on how you feel about Jon Jones, but objectively, it's hard to say that there have been better fighters than Daniel Cormier. He's up there for best ever.
Yep.
He's in that conversation.
Very, very, very
and
short
belongs in that very, very short list.
Daniel Cormier's not Charles Barkley. He's not Patrick Ewing.
No.
He won the big one. He
has climbed every mountain and done everything except for one thing, and that one thing determines how you feel.
Yeah, but it's not his fault.
No?
The people want to begrudge him that he's beating Rumble Johnson twice and stuff like that, and he's walking around with the belt. It's not his fault.
Because Rumble Johnson's just some schmo, right? Like all these guys. The things he did at heavyweight, these guys were just busters and bums, right? No, Daniel Cormier has put together a resume that is unassailable.
I'm just so happy to see him getting the love and respect that he deserves, because even long before, this guy, what he has overcome, he has won. When you think about the guy who met with Scott Coker at that pizza place and what he was battling, not just the Olympic failures, but the personal failures, what he's had to overcome, the tragedies, and the fact that he has turned this into an outstanding Hall of Fame career inside the cage, one of the greatest ever to compete. Not only that, just sort of like a walk into TV work, no prior experience, has turned into one of the best analysts, has essentially his own show, all this stuff. It's incredible. It really is.
The movie will be great.
About Daniel as I said to him last week, it's what a story. And like, he's just beating the guy. He's next man up,
He's probably going to play himself, to be honest.
Yeah.
Why not? Be an actor.
He's going to be like Eminem.
Why not?
Marshall Mathers.
Why not? He'll probably be good at it.
What a story.
Okay, lots of people saying Stipe is beating a murderous lineup, but some have also been saying that most of them are out of their prime.
Oh, get out of here. Get out of here.
Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, couldn't disagree. What are you talking about out of your prime? What are you saying? Francis Ngannou, out of his prime? Talking about? What are you saying? JDS? Coming off a great win in his last fight.
I would say that JDS, Overeem, Hunt, those guys were on the back end for sure. But I think if we're going to do this as an exercise,
there's 5 or 6 just like young heavyweights just waiting to fight.
No, that doesn't exist.
Everyone fights those guys.
In this division, that age is higher. That age that you are a competitive heavyweight is higher than other weight classes. And I would say if we're going to do this as an exercise, then nobody ever beats anybody in their prime.
Yeah. They say that about Jon Jones too. Oh,
exactly.
Rampage Jackson.
Shogun was on the way down after that. You'll never be satisfied if that's the way you're going to look at it. You can only beat who's in front of you, and the names on that list that Stipe has beaten are some of the best ever in that division. He deserves the credit.
Yeah.
Anybody saying that has issues.
Pay the man.
Now that UFC 220 is in the books,
Yes.
What was your favorite part of the UFC Boston
Oh.
experience? Excuse me.
Wait.
Petey and Gia.
Wait a second. This guy is the one who was wearing the Fedor sweater?
Yeah, Petey.
This always blows my mind. I had a whole conversation with him about the Fedor sweater at the weigh-ins.
I'm sure that's why he's referencing it.
Yeah, but he tweets
Petey,
us all
long
the time.
Oh,
You would think he would say, I'm that guy, Petey.
He was
I know
a finalist for Rick's Ticks.
Why wouldn't he say, I'm Petey and Gia? Of course
Maybe
I know.
he was a little embarrassed. Maybe he.
I was having a whole conversation about it.
He's probably assuming, and this is me.
That I know who he was?
No, that you wouldn't know who he is. That he
Oh
goes,
my
I'm
God.
Petey and Gia, and then it's
Petey,
embarrassing if you don't
blew
know.
it. You absolutely blew it. By the way, he was
He's a very
wearing.
nice,
He's incredible.
and humble
Yeah.
person. So that's what
I
I'm
was
assuming.
the one. He didn't mention the sweater. I'm like, holy
You went up to
crap!
him.
No. He was there, and you know he was at the weigh-ins, asked for a photo, all that. But I'm like, holy crap! I saw. Look at that thing.
Look at that sweater.
It's amazing.
Yeah. He was being humble and assuming that you wouldn't know who he is. He didn't want it to be awkward that he goes, hey, I'm that guy. And then you're like, I don't know who that guy is. And it gets real weird.
All right. Well, anyway, he was wearing the Fedor sweater, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
My favorite thing. I thoroughly enjoy Boston for multiple reasons. A, it's close to New York, so it's a short flight. B,
I like it because of its proximity to New York.
the media workouts were at Fenway Park, and that was
That's
incredible.
amazing.
It's like
Yeah.
you're like in a time warp there. It's amazing. That
Sure.
was super cool. C, Celtics game on Thursday. Awesome.
Not related to the UFC.
Fine. D, well, I'm telling you about my experience. D, after the morning weigh-ins, I was walking, killing some time, and I went to this breakfast place called, I think, the Paramount.
Oh, yes, I saw this.
You did see? No. That's another
saw
thing.
your Twitter.
No, that's another place. I went to Paramount. Great. Then, as a result of the weigh-in show where I was reciting some facts about Boston, I learned about the Boston cream pie, which was invented at the Omni Parker Hotel. And I'm walking back to my hotel to kill some time before the ceremonial weigh-ins and the press conference. And I see the Omni Parker Hotel, and I see a picture of said cream pie, and it says home of the original Boston cream pie. And I was really full from breakfast, but I said, I gotta try this because I've never tried a Boston cream pie. Have you?
I have, yes.
And so,
Not from this.
well, I went to try it,
establishment.
and
And?
I filmed it on Instagram. It was fun. I have to say, I wasn't all that impressed.
Oh,
I wasn't all that
boy.
impressed.
Buried.
It was a little
Buried this build up. And you bury him.
I thought a Boston cream pie was kind of like the donut with like the creamy filling.
Yeah.
Didn't really have that. It was very sort
The
of
Dunkin' Donuts
Yeah, it
version
was
of-
very
of a Boston
fluffy.
cream pie?
It was good. Whipped cream, some strawberries, the chocolate top, but I wasn't blown away. I was thinking something like the donut, where they had like, you know, the
My apologies to Omni Parker.
But that was fun.
What was your one moment?
Well, I'm telling you, people like when I
Okay. Sorry.
Okay,
Go.
I had the cream pie. Then we had the weird press conference. Then we had ceremonials. Then on Saturday, I went to this place called Mamales, which is like a Jewish delicatessen all the way in
Oh,
Cambridge.
yeah.
I walked 45 minutes just to eat there. Had some chocolate babka, had matzo ball soup. You know, one of my rules in life, if a restaurant is selling matzo ball soup, I have to have it. No matter if I'm feeling it or not, I must have the matzo ball soup. It was a great matzo ball soup. I had some latkes. I mean, it was just a very
Wow.
Jewish meal. I was loving every second of it.
That is very
Yeah, went back to my room, watched the Thunder annihilate the Cavaliers. That was a lot of fun.
Ugh, give me a
Went to the game, not the game, the fight. It was in the Boston Garden, like media room, very cool media room. I mean, all in all, it was a great trip. And then, 10 o'clock, I'm home.
So what was your favorite moment? Telling me that the Thunder annihilated the Cavaliers?
I just really like Boston. I hate every sports team there. I hate the Red Sox. I hate the Bruins. I certainly hate the Patriots. I can't
the
believe that this
Celtics.
is the Super Bowl that we're getting. It's horrendous, a nightmare. And of course the Celtics. I hate all of them. But I got to say, it's a great town
like Boston.
with a lot of history attached to it.
Put Petey over. Your favorite moment was meeting him.
Okay, that's your okay. My bad, Petey. By the way, the fans were just amazing. So nice.
They seemed very.
They were so nice.
It was a good.
So,
it
so
seemed
nice
like a
to
good
me.
group.
Yeah. It was great.
Okay. Is it unfair for the UFC to strip Conor McGregor of the belt because he has achieved this status?
That's probably why they're not stripping him. Is it unfair?
Is there a justification for that? Could you understand the reasoning?
Here's the thing. They stripped him of the featherweight belt, and I know they
Very quickly.
called it relinquished, right?
Yep.
In less, it was a year. It was actually like a week. It was a week less than a year
Yeah.
since he won it. Now we're approaching 14 months.
Here-
You know what I mean? So
Here's the question for you.
Okay.
Would you strip Conor McGregor? That is the ultimate question.
If I want to book Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov for the undisputed title, yes, I would strip him.
Okay.
Because it has created confusion. It's a cloud hanging over the fight. It's taking away from the fight. And I firmly believe that Conor McGregor doesn't need the belt.
I'm with you on all counts there.
Doesn't need the belt.
I think he doesn't need it, and it muddies what is ultimately a very
Conor
good
McGregor
fight.
is a bigger jaw than everyone combined. Like he is the only guaranteed $1 million pay-per-view guy, regardless of opponent. Like there's certain matchups that could get you to $1 million, but like he's regardless of opponent.
Sure.
They need him badly. You need to be on good terms with him. I get that. But they also need to recognize that he doesn't need the belt. And I know he knows that. And it's a prestige thing to be the champion, and all that. But he's the only guy that doesn't need the belt.
He'd have more ammo if they took the belt away. He would be more sympathetic as a character.
They need to do it on the same page.
Yeah.
They need to do it together, so to speak, right? I mean, he's coming back. He'll get the first crack, blah, blah, blah. But, whatever they did on Friday made no sense.
Okay, we're going to do these rapid fire real quick.
Let's go.
Will Ariel Helwani be partaking in some haggis, neeps, and tatties for Burns Night on the 25th?
I have no idea what this is.
Robert Burns Day.
Okay.
A day to celebrate.
Robert Burns?
Yes.
Who's Robert Burns?
Robert Burns is a poet.
Okay.
An author of many Scots poems.
Oh, okay. I've heard of him.
January 25th is Robert Burns Day. Are you on January 25th going to be partaking? Haggis, neeps, and tatties?
I don't know what neeps and tatties are. Absolutely not haggis.
We barely know what haggis is at this point.
Yeah, I have the haggis toy right over there. I'm gonna.
So that's a no.
Say it's a hard no. It's a hard no. I will not be partaking in anything involving
haggis, neeps, and tatties. No. Okay. Should the Ric Flair
but I appreciate the question. Oh yes.
Be banned at UFC events?
Unequivocally.
Yes. In agreement.
Once we book the arena, we tell security if anyone is caught wooing during a fight, they are banned, not just from the building, but they are banned for life from UFC events.
I get, being a lively crowd, but you're taking the attention away with this. It's becoming tiresome.
Yeah.
Enough already. Does Ariel still support Leicester City?
Yes.
Or has he already moved on to another bandwagon?
As you can see right over there, my Leicester City mug is right over there.
You know if any of those guys are still on the team? Or
Well, it says like me, Esther Lynn, Dave Doyle.
So none of them are on the
Jamie
team.
Vardy, my man. Look, it's hard to recreate magic. It's hard for underdogs to recreate what they, did. Like no one expected that out of them. You know what I mean? Like no one. And
including ardent supporters like yourself.
Yes.
Like nobody could see it coming.
Look, it's just hard to recreate it. Am I going to jump off the bandwagon? No. Was there a tough draw recently against Chelsea? Yes. FA Cup, fine. But look, we had a great match against Fleetwood. And,
oh, wow. Fleetwood.
And we're on a bit of a roll as of late. Watford 2-0, Fleetwood 2-0,
Watford?
Yeah, Watford, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What do you know about Ashley Young? You know nothing.
I don't know anything.
So
I'm going by you. These names sound...
No, the Foxes are my team.
Right off the top.
I'm living and dying with them until the very end. Just like I lived and died with them up until they won the championship. All right, so
I love it.
This idea,
Jordan, he's here to stay.
Yeah, I mean this idea that I'm not a Vardy supporter, that I'm not a Shinji Ozakazi supporter. That I'm not. that I'm not a Riyad Mahrez supporter. It's almost insulting at this point. Like, what more do I have to do?
Well, somebody needs to contact these guys and let them know that they have a supporter.
Adrian Silva, Harry Maguire. Like I could just go on and on.
Yeah, I know. You got it. Okay. Raging Al Iaquinta Realty asks, who is Ariel's favorite real estate agent? I think it's got to be Al Iaquinta, no?
I was trying to think of another famous real estate agent.
You know what? Aljamain Sterling also. You can't.
Nah, I definitely. If I had to decide between the two, I'm definitely going with Iaquinta Realty over.
No disrespect to.
No disrespect, but to
Aljamain.
I just feel like Al's been doing it longer. He knows the game.
I think he just posted on Twitter. I saw he posted a nice looking house on Long Island.
Yeah. He's killing it. Doesn't need to fight.
Will either of you be watching the Raw 25-year anniversary show?
That's tonight, right?
I believe it is, yeah.
Well, I don't want to send my wife into a panic attack because every time she sees me watching wrestling on TV, she almost faints because she feels like we kick this habit, if you know what I'm saying. But no, I know they like to bring back the old folks and reminisce.
I think it could be cool. I'm going to try and get some of it. Or at least catch highlights or something.
Yeah, maybe highlights. I don't know. I saw Bret Hart tweeted he's not going to be there. It's the only one I.
Is he your guy?
No, but there's some talk that maybe Ronda Rousey's going to show up. I think it would be a very big mistake. You can't debut Rousey without promoting Rousey debuting. The reason you have
isn't
Rousey
that like
on
a
the
thing
roster,
in wrestling?
Yeah, but this is
Like
too big.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like when Mike Tyson was on, like you say, Mike Tyson's going to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't.
Yeah. But I think my memory.
Yeah.
There's a thing though in wrestling where like you kind of are hush hush, like they keep it super secret, and then the big like reveal, the act comes out.
That's what they do more often than not. But it's one thing when it's like the Undertaker returning. It's another when it's Ronda Rousey.
Right, because they haven't been in the promotion before. This
big story.
I get
you
it.
want to promote
That's
that.
Fair.
You want to spike the ratings.
I gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So you may
No.
catch something.
There's no chance.
No, you're not going to tune in, but
Look at social media.
if Ronda Rousey's there, you're not going to find it. You're not going to look for it.
Well, I mean, if it's tweeted about, then I'll probably find it.
Aaron Chalmers versus CM Punk, yay or nay?
Yay.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah. I'm in. Give it to me.
Which MMA fighter would you like to see on another season of the challenge?
I believe this is for you.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously the fantasy choice of Conor McGregor. I think he'd be dynamic in the game. I think he'd be dynamic in the game. I think he'd be great at the political. It's hard. Who would be athletically capable? That's an important part of this because this is truly an athletic competition. You can't just be a run your mouth kind of person.
Sage Northcutt?
No. Yes, for the
athletics.
No, for the interesting throwing Sage Northcutt into an environment where the key components are physical competition, copious amounts of alcohol, and it'd be like putting Sage on tough, but with intergender mixing, and lots of sexual promiscuity.
Wow.
I would like to see Sage for the. You know what? Sage is the answer. Because I would like to see that as an experiment.
I want to see Darren Till because I like to see the action.
Darren Till would be great. You know? Oh, they've this year they've got some
Scouser
people from the UK.
Wow.
I don't know if they're Scousers, but definitely they've implemented some UK people. Sage Northcutt is the answer because I think that would be extremely entertaining.
Sage Northcutt.
I would like to see Sage. Sage, do it.
Do it, Sage.
That's it. We're done. It was a good week.
It was a good week. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Look forward to next week. Take care now. Bye-bye then. All right, you can hit my music. We are done for the day, my friends. We covered a lot of ground. We talked about a lot. We talked about UFC 220. We talked about Stipe Miocic reigning supreme. We talked about Stipe Miocic, the winningest heavyweight champion in the history of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. We talked about Stipe Miocic and the belt. We talked about what is really troubling him. We talked about respect. We talked about Francis Ngannou and the cardio issue and him coming back and not being ready to write him off. Talked about all those things. We talked about Daniel Cormier finally getting the respect that he deserves. The appreciation for Daniel at an all-time high, and that's cool to see. Talked about Volkan Ozdemir coming ready to fight. We talked about Chael Sonnen defeating Quinton Rampage Jackson, the first round of the Bellator heavyweight tournament. We talked about Rory MacDonald finally winning Bellator gold. Finally winning any kind of gold. An amazing story. Congratulations to Rory MacDonald. Congratulations to Canada. You have another champion in the welterweight division. How cool is that? All right, time to wrap up. Thank you very much to everyone who tuned in. Thank you very much to everyone who stopped by. Thank you very much to Daniel Cormier. Hopefully the trip to the hospital went well. I'll check in on that. Thank you very much to Chael Sonnen. Congratulations. Thank you very much to Tony Ferguson. Great to hear from him. Thank you very much to Joanna and Jacek as well. That was fascinating stuff. Thank you very much to Rory MacDonald. Congratulations once again. Thank you very much to Jimmy Manoa. Thank you very much to Aaron Pico. Congratulations on the big victory as well. Thank you very much to Brent Primus, Jessica Rose Clark. That was amazing stuff as well. Back next week, same time and place. Until then, I say peace. Somebody out.